Good evening, everybody. This is xRAM-ai. Going to talk a little bit about Celebrate the Dead 2, which is the second iteration of a short music video. I found this really groovy beat. Um, yeah, found it on YouTube Music. Great place for that. I found some good stuff, and I think the name of uh, today's learning session was trust the AI a little bit more, trust neural frames more, and let the system kind of take my vision and turn it into what it wants to be. Now, I have to be honest. uh, I, Celebrate the Dead is my favorite that I've made, which isn't saying a lot because I haven't made much. However, when I showed this to a few other people, they preferred this one. There's so much more randomness in this video. You can see uh, there's lots more transitions here, where I kind of let the AI do its thing, uh, and I guided it right. So I put these, uh, I created pictures that I knew that I wanted it to get to, and this is kind of the way that I figured out to tell a story with this. So whatever my envisionment is of how I want the video to go, I was having so much trouble getting it to generate what I wanted. So I kind of figured out that you can generate these pictures by going to this button here. When you generate those pictures, you could attach them to here. So you click on this, and you could see this is the picture. So what we're going to want is this the video. The AI actually tries to work itself to this pictures. I also I feel kind of like an idiot because in my last video I was suggesting the neural frames that they separate this out so that I can figure out where the beat is per instrument so that I could build my pauses and my speed and things around it. And I feel kind of like an idiot in this video because that's exactly what they've already done. The stems actually are pulling that out. So for instance on this one, this is a guitar sound here at the beginning. It's categorized under other. And once I set this for rotation vertical, it, it's moving the camera up toward her face. Combine that with this 2.08 quiet zoom in, and you just kind of get this forward movement. Now, the biggest thing that I added to this video that I have not experimented with at all was adding in this strength modulation that goes with the drums. So this song, you know, I'll play it here in a minute, has a very strong drum beating in it. And so I really just wanted to kind of play and go, okay, if I juice this strength up so that it's going up on every single time this hits. So basically I was allowing the AI to just generate whatever it wanted essentially whenever these beats came up. Of course, I still had these reference photos to keep my story somewhat on track, but I did allow the AI to fill in a little bit. For me, it's too random and it kind of loses its place in the story that I'm trying to tell. Of course, this is only a 50 plus second story, but for me, it kind of got a little bit out there. You can determine for yourself on that, but it really generated some weird stuff, right? Nothing that's not, thankfully, I've already learned my parameters good enough to keep it within the differentials so that it doesn't, get these streaks, blurs, really weird, you know, blank spots in it and things like that. However, it did generate pictures that I can't really differentiate what they are. So here's my first transition again. I uploaded this picture here, and so during this transition, the AI is adapting to making this move, and this one probably doesn't have enough room. I should have maybe stepped this in a little bit, shorten this period down, give the AI a little more time, because what it does is if you get the timing right, the transition, it will create a really killer transition. As you can see, because it didn't have a lot of time, it tried to rush here. A lot of that also is I've recognized if I'm using my style that I trained in unison with the styles that I'm not training, that are part of the Dream Shaper. If you do that, you kind of have to give it time to transition into it. I guess you could go straight cutscene, but I am not a fan of the cutscene. I don't really like the jerkiness of it. Don't get me wrong. I think that some artists do that, and it looks great. I'm not. I haven't found a way to implement it where I am a fan of it yet. So here's where it starts to get a little bit weird, right? So we got this face, and I'm letting I've taken the edge echo completely off, down here for a minute. So right here, the edge echo's off. The AI is trying to adjust to it, and once the edge echo goes off, you can see that with the strength hitting here on this drum beat, it's really getting weird, because every time this thing hits, it's not relating to the previous picture as much, and so it gets further from the original substance. Boom. Now I don't know what that is. In a minute, I'll play it. It looks cool, but you can see that it's getting pretty far out there now. Every time that it's hitting this, it's really moving things around. Worked a lot on this one with panning. Again, this transition here, I, I've got my source picture here of this little crowd, which is one of my favorite parts of this video. At this point, this has come pretty far from my source. It's because of this little parameter right here that I did, and as you can see, it goes the whole song, and I literally amplified the strength to full blast on the drum beat. And so every time that basically a drum would hit, the picture, the frame goes further from the source. And if you come again, and now I give this one plenty of time to transition, and it's going to come in, and it's going to start to move us towards, and again, I've taken off the edge echo, so it allows it to lose the framing and kind of just do whatever it wants to do for a moment, and then come back, and you can see here that it's finding its way. It's changed the colors, and boom. And here we come into, some of them are pretty weird, pumpkin heads and what have you. And here I started to mess with the camera a little bit. So I got a little zoom going on here with the base. I've got a vertical rotation here that's actually turning me downward, and then I've got also a pan vertical. So it's moving down, rotating up, and zooming in all at the same time. Once the echo comes off, it's going to get crazy, right? I mean, once the edge echo comes back on, it's going to get pretty wild. One of my favorite parts of this video, in fact. The thing is that I want to point out is that if you have this strength strong up here at this higher level, and I've noticed this over and over again, and if somebody out there knows any tricks to this, or maybe it's the flicker that's doing it, but it's definitely one of these two. You don't want to put very much fast movement, because if you put fast movement into it, like if I bump this up to, for instance, this little vertical rotation, if I bump this to like -2 or 3, it'll it'll get distorted on the edges, and it'll start. I call it the string cheese effect. It starts, or melted cheese effect. It starts to string them out like really crazy. So, so you have to keep these values pretty low. So you can see I'm hitting 1 with the pan speed, and I'm hitting -1 with the rotation. Honestly, if I when I went any higher than that, it's stringy. It crook cheese. You know, it is stringy cheese, and it's terrible. It's terrible when it does that. Just not what you expect to get out of it. It goes up, and check this stuff out, man. Bye bye. Here comes my echo in to hold everything in together in frame, and I just let this thing go crazy. It's just hitting with these, and it's with this drum, and it's staying somewhat on subject here. Like, the other one did not do that. I don't know why that is, but this one does, and it just generates some wild stuff. Some wild stuff. Love it. I love it. It's actually much more what I envisioned for this part than than I got in the first video, that I actually think is more my favorite. But I'll go over that here in a minute. But you can see that this thing is just, every time it bumps down here, it's getting these huge changes. I didn't have to have so much transition here because these were going to be similar images, and so I didn't need as much. You can see that it's pretty. Wow, it's just amazing how this Nero frames just, wow. It's amazing how that just transitions straight into that. Again, nothing super special here. Just running. I'm still just running this solid drum strength, and every time it's generating some really wild stuff off of the source picture. And I have to say that I'm quite impressed with what it's doing. But you can see here, it gets really, like, it gets a little bit wacko, right? So I've got the in this part right here, I probably could have backed off this edge echo just a little bit more. Right now I've got this right here is amplifying it um, by 8, and I don't know that that was the right thing to do here. This I might should have pulled this and let it go. It's Yeah. Anyways, it ends up coming out good, but this was a super big learning lesson here. I didn't really want it to go back into these faces, but it does some kind of cool stuff because of my, I've got a zoom here that I'm pulling on the baseline at this point, and I've got this there's a sound that's going on in there. It's a guitar, and I've got this rotation, just a little bit of rotation of 4, and we start to get this interesting movement here. And again, when you hit the strength, it's going to just kind of go away from everything. This, I don't know what that is, but it's pretty trippy, man. Yeah, it's pretty trippy. Yeah. I mean, if you're smoking some shit, you're probably seeing all kinds of stuff in that. Here's something that I want everybody to notice that I learned today, and a lot of you probably already know this, but if you didn't, I went from this style here, which was acrylic painting style like this. And if you'll notice something, my last picture over here is like this really tripping out. And again, I was doing a lot of experimenting here, but it's like this really tripping out, like vibrant acid trip kind of thing. And what I want to show you is that I pulled the transition very far away. I kept this same strength in here. Watch what the AI does. It's going to slowly bring this to these colors, these neon trippy acid shroom tripping whatever shitball stuff. I don't know what it is. And it brings me completely into this completely different style. So I think that's something I've learned here may help out anybody out there watching that might be trying to get into this or learn it. Is it seems, I'm new at this still. I'm still really learning this, and the potential here seems endless. I can't. I'm excited to see where this is going to go. I love to tell a story with video, and I've never really had the chance to do that in music. And when I hear music, I see a story in my mind, and to be able to put it into something artistic is amazing to me. So if you're learning this, don't give up. I've been at this only a short time. It's been frustrating. I've spent hours and hours and hours and hours here, trying to learn it. It's still fun because it's a different medium. It's not like sitting here banging away at the keyboard all day, or trying to get some weird graphic to spin and zoom in. And I mean, there's so much you can do with this. It just kind of builds itself into this. You can have this great idea in it, and it can expand it, and it's universal. And neural frames really, it's just fantastic, guys. I can't even tell you how advanced this is and how awesome it is. And it just started generating wild stuff. Transition, if you're going to take and move to a completely different type of feel in a video, I've seen a lot of people hard cut it, and I'm still just not a fan of that. I think I'm more of a smooth person. I like smooth transitions and smooth music and smooth videos. And I'm still learning my style, but this just does some really trippy stuff, and I really groove with this. I really love this. Let me go ahead and play this for you, and you can be a judge for yourself. And I'll show you my first iteration, which I absolutely love also. But this one here, just everyone that I've showed it to, they like this one better. So check it out. Here it goes. Yeah, so that is how that one came out, and I really do like it. It's on YouTube. I do post my videos on YouTube, and you know, I really do like it. Now, this is the first iteration of the video that I did, and each one of these videos took me probably actual sitting in front of my computer today. I'd say maybe an hour and a half a piece, maybe a little bit longer. But keep in mind that I'm new. You do have to invest a little bit of time, I think, to get things right. Now, this one is much more complicated in the programming because I want to control everything. I want to make the story move and flow the way that I want it to go. And this one doesn't have as much of the AI, uh, doing it. In other words, the transitions aren't as long. I didn't give the AI as much freedom. I'm not using a strength modifier on the drum beats. Everything in this one is pretty much manually inputted, if you'll notice. And um, there's a lot of great things to being able to do that because it gives you the freedom. And this goes more to what was in the story in my head. The only problem was that I never really got happy with the very end of it, and that's why I kind of went back and I wanted to experiment, and that's when I came up with the second iteration of this video. But this video for me has a highlight, so you can see I'm not going to go through all these. If you'd like to learn this, or you'd like for me to go through why I did these, I can certainly do that. But I'm going to show this video. You can judge for yourself which one you think is better. You can post something in the comments if anybody ever watches this. But this for me is the highlight of this video. So this video completely changes right here. It's I've got a hard uh, edge echo across the board. You can see it here. It's running at 0.5 across the board. I'm stripping it away only for periods of time for the system to transition faster. And that's why I'm doing that. Literally, that's the only reason I'm doing it. So it goes to here. You can see it gets a little bit of the string cheese effect. It's not very noticeable during the video itself, but it does kind of get it. I actually didn't notice it that bad I think it's just because my computer's a little bit slow and it just hasn't caught up yet. But it allows because I've got the source picture already in here, as you can see again. So it's just allowing the system to make a faster transition from this picture into this picture, or this frame into this frame, or multiple frames here. But what I really love is the movement on this. So on the actual picture itself, you can see I actually use this flow motion balance preset. And be careful with these presets, guys, because this was something I learned. They are a blessing and a curse, right? They can put you and help you get the effect you're looking for in a certain part. If you don't pay attention to them, though, they can set these controls up here in a way that when you're trying to work this bottom part, it's counter to it. It's just doesn't jive. But here, I had a clockwise motion on the base, and up here we've got, because we're using this flow motion, it's automatically got this set with this left to right, up and down, so a little bit of pan here, and some zoom, And so with this flow motion mixed with this rotation, it gives me my favorite AI video moment to date. And that is when the camera goes right along the skull face, changing, and then just morphs into this beautiful cloth. It blows my mind. I just love this so much. And then again, I'm removing the echo so that it can transition faster. And it gives me this, which I'm not happy with. And again, if I'd have kept the edge echo steady, this probably doesn't happen. But it doesn't kill anything. It's still the AI is wanting to bring back this the Day of the Dead Girl theme, and then here we come into the crowd, and this isn't nearly as fancy of a camera movement as the other one, but I just love this. I kept the camera straight. It's got this kind of a moving feeling. It's not set. This is actually set to the snare, set to the bass. So yeah, they're almost contradictory to each other. You've got a pan vertical, or panning down, and a panning vertical. So they're actually opposing each other. You'll see what kind of effect it gives, kind of a jerking type effect. And if you've watched any of my other videos, you'll see that here I'm putting this is actually a zoom. It's a really intense zoom. I like for it to have a kind of a jerking type of motion, just to put a little bit more movement into it. You've got the flow motion balance. Apparently, I was into that on this particular video, and we're rolling in now. Toward the end here, what I did was on this last part is put this little kick in on and it's a zoom, and so it's zooming me out. And I kind of like it, but I just wasn't a big fan of this face, I don't know. Uh, so I was happy with it when I did it, and then after I watched it back several times, I was kind of eh. And I went in, I was going to change that, and I ended up changing and experimenting with the whole thing, and that's where Celebrate the Dead 2 came from. I'd love to know what you think. Which one is your favorite? They're both shorts available on YouTube. Look them up. You can find them on me under xRAM-ai. And check out this one, and y'all have a good night. Appreciate you watching my show, watching my channel, supporting me, watching me mess up stuff big time. I get a chance, I'm going to make a video with some of my really bad mistakes that I just didn't even try to go back and fix. I'll publish some of those one time so you guys can see. This isn't that easy. Anybody that thinks that you just pull this thing up and it goes, maybe that's what some kids do with it or some people do with it just to have fun and makes videos, which it's fun, all that. But I guess maybe I'm just a control freak. I want it to follow a certain path and tell a story. This is my art form, and I appreciate you listening to me and watching my videos. At this moment, when I'm recording, no one is watching my videos. So it's October 30th of 2024. Let's see what happens. Maybe by 2028 or 2030, I'll have 2 or 3 viewers. Never know. Either way, I'm gonna keep on making these because I love it and want to be able to express myself. If you can't draw, you maybe have some musical talent, but you are in a similar situation to me where you don't have financial means to play music, or you can't afford, software to create music on your computer, you know, try picking up neural frames. This is not so bad. Expensive, and it's just an amazing tool. Just absolutely amazing. Hopefully they'll sponsor me someday, and I can put a link in the bottom and give you a discount on on neural frames. So thanks for watching. Here comes Celebrate the Dead.